coffee. First of all, we need to talk about presentation because, you know, you just don't want to drink iced coffee out of anything, okay? And so first of all, to present the drink, it needs to be presented in the right container, in the right cup. This is the wrong cup. No one wants to drink out of a takeaway paper cup. And so when you present your lesson, you don't want just like some cheap, nasty lesson that you just thought of 5 minutes before you went to the class. So, first of all, don't want any of that. The second thing is we don't want it plain and boring and same old, same old. That's out as well. So we don't want to present anything in that capacity. Right. Secondly, we don't want to present something that's kind of like cheesy and kind of like, it's not really you borrowed something from someone else's brain has been inserted into your brain and you're doing their lesson. We want to give you lessons that you can make your lesson so there's some kind of integrity because kids know whether it's really you or something else. And so, so we don't want to do any of that. What we do want to do, nice, tall glass. And what's good about this presentation is it's kind of transparent. And it's kind of like, transparent means you, the presenter, are very important in the lesson, okay? And so that's why this is a great glass. You know, you can't tell someone to do something or to be something or to have something when you don't do it, have it yourself. So that's really important, to give them something that's real, that's genuine, that's you, that's something that they can discover just like you've discovered it. And that's what these lessons are about, presentation. All right, next thing. Okay, first thing you need is ice. Alright, and you've got ice, because icebreakers are really important because you come into the class and the kids are they sort of got their books all over the bench and you kind of do something to get them their attention over to you. Okay, let me do. We've got our ice, and icebreakers can be as simple as like coming into the class, getting the kids' attention, and you can do this thing we call it revise with a prize. Last week's lesson, ask some questions, ask some dorky questions, ask some funny questions, ask some very cool, important questions. Now, leave the best prize to the really important question. In other words, this is most important about last week, that you remembered something like, not how many disciples there were, that's trivia, but how does God feel about you? That's a really important question. So say the question. Okay, so the other thing is songs. Music is awesome. If you play guitar or something like that, get some really cool songs. Write your own songs, do whatever. But songs and music, kids love to sing. Alright, so they're kind of some icebreakers. The next thing is we need coffee. Alright, now coffee is a stimulant, okay? We don't want to put these kids to sleep. We want to give them something to think about. Now, when you pour the coffee in, alright, you pour the coffee in like that, what we're talking about is, if you go into your class, you've got to give them something to think about. Why should they listen to this lesson? If you tell them something way cool, like God has the most awesome gift and He wants to give it to you, I want to tell you what God wants to give it to you. I'm going to tell you how to unpack this gift. Or maybe, who wants to know what God is doing right now? I'll tell you. See, these are kind of important questions that might get them to go, I want to know about that. So that's what the coffee is. It's just something to get them excited and ready to listen to what you got to say, thinking this lesson is going to be cool. Alright, the next thing is that you need some sugar. Alright, so we put a bit of sugar in there, and depending on how sweet your tooth is, whether you put 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 or whatever, is totally up to you, okay? And so once you've got the sugar is the prop. Okay, the prop that you're going to use. And right now, this whole lesson is a prop. And if you can think of it, we're going to give you a whole bunch of cool props that you can use. Some are a little bit expensive, some are way cool and way cheap, that you can take into your class to make the wild lesson come alive. And so what it does, the next thing after you put the sugar in is the milk. And the milk is the substance of your lesson. Alright, here we go. Excellent. And so once you put the milk in, it's kind of like stories. The whole book here is about stories. Jesus used stories. 90% of what he said is all about stories. So we want to be storytellers, okay? Now there's 3 stories to tell. There's your story. Maybe your first lesson could be all about, when I met Jesus. Just tell them the story, how it happened. Then you can ask them, hey, has anybody here ever met Jesus? Anybody here got a friend who might be a Christian? Get them to tell their story. And then after that, then you can tell God's story. Okay, the next thing that you got to do, right after you put the milk in, you got the coffee, you got the ice, you got a cool presentation here in the right glass. You've got to stir it. Now when we stir it, it's doing something like wrapping it all so it all comes together.